Geralt and Hearthstone with 2 losses, and the rest of the players more or less out. If Couguar can somehow beat SKillous here, this Group C is going to get really, really messy really fast with a lot of players with 2 and 3 losses, meaning it's going to come down to a lot of map score decisions, a lot of head-to-head decisions, and it's going to get filthy, which is actually what we predicted, Grant, at the very beginning of the day. Let's introduce our players, and then we can talk a little bit more about what makes Group C one of the most fascinating groups here at DreamHack Fall.
Let's do it. Starting in the top left, here's the red Protoss player representing Cascade Esports. It's SKillous.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side, also using that gorgeous Ancient Aztec Nexus skin. It's our other Russian Protoss player. His name is a combination of Cougar and Jaguar from the 3D clan. It's Couguar. All right, so as we said at the very beginning of this tournament, and Grant, I want you and I to be on record as being absolutely right about this. Okay. Group C has the potential to be a very, very nasty group. Those 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th spots are going to be so hardly contested or hotly contested for. And again, if this game goes belly up, if Couguar can win this against SKillous, this group is going to be filthy, and I have no idea who's going to come out of it.
I think SKillous I would probably favour in this matchup, although Couguar, if there's any matchup I trust him in, it is PvP. He's naturally been quite an interesting player to watch. He's had some strange off-meta builds and things like that. SKillous is, I typically find, very, very aggressive, although this game, every pylon at home.
Yeah, you know, I think that's fine, actually. For both players, probably. Nothing too crazy. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday with Steadfast, where PvP, it's become standard at this point just to scout everywhere, because you expect a pylon to be down somewhere. Even if both are in the main base to start with, you may as well go ahead and scout. But neither of these players really doing that. Both of them keeping it home and not going for a crazy scout anywhere out on the map. I love that SKillous is Maca-ing that 3rd pylon, basically. Yeah. If that's a thing, a Maca pylon, it is now. And wow, look at that, Couguar aggressively putting down a pylon on his base as well to make sure that SKillous does not sneak that pylon into his wow. Into his wow. Double stalker for both players, straight into double sentry for both players. Looks like no Stargates this time.
Yeah, both players looking to expand here. We can see they go down at very even times when all is said and done. And then it's just a case of both players feeling one another out for now. We can see both going for very safe, but also solid opening where you get the Stalkers to defend against the Depths, and then you go Sentries so you can scout. They'll build up enough energy very quickly to get those hallucinated Phoenixes out, and that's where we will see what goes on. Now, the first tech choice we see is the Robo from SKillous. Meanwhile, at the other side of the map, we've not actually seen any tech go down, but it should be... Okay, it's going to be a Twilight Council going down right now for Couguar. And we're going into what I imagine will be Blink Stalker versus Stalker Immortal. Both will end up, though, in the same position in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, a little slightly different path here, but they're both plodding assuredly to the next destination that is going to be the same destination for both of them. The big difference right now is that Forge going down for Couguar. This is something he's been doing in all of his PvP matchups. He's getting that very early Forge down, feeling very confident in his ability to get +1 and hold it. So we're going to need to see SKillous scouting that right away, because there it is, immediately. Beautifully done. And it's because as soon as your opponent gets +1, you are in such a dangerous spot while that +1 window is open, just because, especially in PvP, and doubly so when you've got the same composition as your opponent, a +1 advantage is basically the game.
Yeah, both players do have their Forges down or very close to being down, so upgrades in the end will be very even. +1 not starting immediately here for Couguar, who gets his Robo. The Twilight Council going down at the same time here from SKillous. So as we said, they may have gone in different directions, but they ended up at the same destination, and that is going to be Immortal, Blink, Stalker across the board here. The Immortals will be up quicker for SKillous, and the Blink for Couguar, but really, when all is said and done, we're looking at a very, very, very even game right now.
It's an important match to keep your eye on, not just because of the implications for the bracket, but also because this group, or because the implications for the group stage, but also the implications for the rest of the group stage as well. Really nice here by SKillous, by the way. Gonna get 4 kills, maybe a 5th. Just 4. Nicely done there. But because Group C, unlike every other group, has 5 Protoss players in it. It's the most Protoss heavy group, and if you have 5 Protoss players in your group, that means more than half of your matches, not just a plurality, but a majority of your matches in this group are going to be against Protoss players. So your PvP skills had better be really on point. A bit of bad luck, honestly, with the group seating there, because Group D has no Protoss players at all.
Brutal. But PvP, actually, secretly my favorite matchup. I'm sorry, chat. SKillous is continuing to scout very, very efficiently here, adding on extra gateways when he sees the extra gateways. The third is taken quicker by Couguar, and that has been seen here by SKillous, who is now moving down to take the third of his own with his super cool looking F1-like probe. Prism on the way here for SKillous, and it looks like this game will start to ramp up at about the 7-minute mark, and maybe something exciting will happen.
You know, it's an interesting thing. We were talking about the upgrades earlier, and of course I said Couguar finished his Forge much earlier than SKillous finished his Zone, by about half the building time of the Forge, for example. But look at these +1 timings. SKillous actually remembering to get his +1 started a little bit more quickly, and that points to a slightly tighter build order, slightly cleaner macro, just a player who's slightly more on top of it than Couguar. Because remember, guys, when you plant down that Forge, every second that it's not spinning is a waste of those Forge's resources, a complete waste. There's no reason to not start that +1 as soon as your Forge finishes. If you wait any longer than that, your build order is simply not as clean. So that might give SKillous a bit of an edge as the game goes on, if you think about him as being a bit more of a clean player. And he's setting up for a big attack here. I think Couguar should be fine with that third base. Not a lot of, well, there are two shield batteries there. Couguar should be all right, even if SKillous rotates around to the natural.
Yeah, SKillous needs to get onto the high ground, really. This observer seeing the rotations here of SKillous' army. A couple of force fields go down. It seems like Couguar gets the better, but the Prism is here for SKillous in order to save his units. And we have a bit of a stalemate, right? We can see that both players don't want to commit to this fight. SKillous behind this is probing up like crazy. Couguar would not want to fight without his Zealot charge, and he continues to probe up as well. So this game is literally, I mean, it's dead even on supplies. Work account very slightly favors the red Protoss player, but Couguar has his charge a lot earlier, and that's really the only differences right now.
Couguar's got to be breathing a sigh of relief that SKillous didn't engage there. I think if that fight had gone down, it would have been really filthy for both players, but SKillous may have been able to take him out there. With the Warp Prism to micro those Immortals and do additional Warp-ins, Couguar could have been in a bit of rough shape, so he's got to be very pleased that SKillous backed off there, but SKillous playing it safe rather than sorry. Very nicely done. He is going to get those Hallucinated Phoenix in to scout not just the Dark Shrine, but also that Robo Bay, which he had not seen before. And we're going to see Couguar going into Disruptors as Skillous finishes up his charge at his +2. Skillous' 4th base, though, already on the field. Couguar has got to catch up soon. Yeah,
Couguar's tech, though, is better right now. His Robotics Bay considerably earlier than that of his opponent, and Disruptors are the game changers in PvP. Once we get to that Disruptor v Disruptor stage, it becomes very, very difficult, and anything can change the outcome of the game. We do see Skillous looking for a bit of a committed attack here. He has managed to find his way onto high ground, and that means he has force fields now to his advantage to keep his opponent out, to force aggressive blinks. He is going to try and catch on the side. He does not want to lose that Prism. Oh, that's a lot of Stalkers thrown away for the Prism, though. I don't know if that was worth it, Couguar. He has a few Stalkers in the back. The Immortals trapped here are not able to be microed. The blink forward from Skillous. Skillous up in army supply by 14. And it looks like he may be able to break through a little bit.
Really nice engagement there from Skillous. A little bit sloppy on both sides. Couguar could have engaged a little bit better here, but Skillous is going to go ahead and push in, making sure there's no 4th base going down there for Couguar, who is setting up for one. And now the 4th base for Skillous just finishing up. The probe's already mining here, and yeah, Skillous going to be way ahead now. Probe count, income, bases, every possible measure here. He doesn't have a Warp Prism. I'm a little surprised to see him fighting this fight, especially with the Zealots coming in from Couguar. This might be a bridge too far here. Skillous overstaying is welcome to be forced to retreat, but that's going to allow Couguar to aggressively blunk on top of him there, and that Immortal can wave bye-bye. He's done, and the Sentries too. Oof. Rough cleanup there.
Yeah, the Robotics Bay is finally on the way for Skillous, but Couguar already has his tech, and Disruptors are already in play, right? Yeah, there's one coming across the map right now. So now it's Couguar's turn to put his foot down, pedal to the metal, and try and find some damage. You can see the upgrades of Skillous very slightly ahead, but really, as long as Chrono is going into it, which it currently isn't, actually a little bit of energy built up here for Couguar, then it shouldn't matter too much. It's just pure Stalker almost right now for Skillous. In fact, It's pure Stalker right now from SKillous as he's trying to transition. But if you make one micro mistake right now, Couguar could absolutely snowball. Here comes, okay.
SKillous channeling his inner creator here. Just he's like, you know what? Blink Stalkers have the highest DPS per mineral cost. Done. Let's go, really? Baby. That's not actually true, but he knows they're very terrifying in large numbers. His +3 slightly ahead here. If he tags a +3 timing, he's got a pretty decent, maybe a 30, 45 second window. And if your Stalkers have more than +1 more than your opponent does, could be really big. There's so many here, he can't recall all of them though. And these Zealots from SKillous might be able, or from Couguar might be able to get on top of him. Nice blink away there from SKillous, being very evasive. Only gonna lose one Stalker there. That is so close. But here come the DTs, baby dolls.
Yeah, DTs and Zealots tearing for a mineral line. Disruptors as well having to Purification Nova themselves. Luckily they do not take damage. But this is so much damage right now. DT finally clean this up. The 12 workers go down, and now we see the Strike Force beta, so to speak, moving in over here on the west side. They are going to back off. I'm not going to be able to find a position. But SKillous now taking an 11 probe lead. His +3 finishing in just 15 seconds. And that is considerably ahead of his opponent, who just hasn't been chronoing it. I've been keeping an eye. And his chronos have been going elsewhere into Disruptor production, I believe. Oh my god, both armies missing each other.
Yeah, SKillous sniffs something's up, though. Sees a little move out into his 5th base here, and he's not in place, though, on that 4th base. And Zealot's going to get in here. The Stalker's putting pressure on as well. He's going to have to beat it by some time, but oh my god, look at Couguar's GT slicing and dicing away. SKillous forced to cancel that base. Cancel or kill? Cancel, thank goodness. But the 4th base is going to stay safe. Oh, man, what an aggressive lung forward, though. There is nothing here. Oh, the splitting from SKillous, not bad at all. That could have been, oh my god, as soon as I say his splitting not bad, he gets nailed to the wall. But the good news is, he's still going to take an efficient fight there, Grant.
Yeah, he managed to take down all of the Disruptors, 4 dying in total now, and that's going to even up that count that previously SKillous now taking a lead. He produced them so much later, but getting those kills ended up being worth trading out the Stalkers, because in late game PvP, it all comes down to a couple of small factors. Who has more Disruptors, when players transition, and what the DTs can manage to do. I'm very surprised there's no Dark Shrine from SKillous. Very untraditional in PvP, where it's so common to use DTs to harass just instead of Zealots, because they're just, you know, better.
Grant going full Tevya on us here, complaining about the lack of tradition among the young players. Yeah. I can see you in the barn right now going, tradition! I
don't have a clue what you're chatting about. What are you on about?
What? Grant, have you never seen Fiddler on the Roof?
I don't even know what you're talking about. You know, you talk about fiddling with me on the roof. I'm very confused. DT's trying to defend here.
Oh, Grant, I need to ask the players for a tactical pause here. We need to take about 3.5 hours out of your day to go watch Fiddler on the Roof. That's a
tactical pause. Observer going down here. Blink forward on top of the Disruptor. Will manage to pick it up. SKillous certainly, I mean, look at the supply. It doesn't ever lie. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. The Stalker numbers massively favouring the red Proto player right now, but DT's going to shred through. Oh my god,
luckily, the Observer's safe for SKillous. He's been able to maintain that, and Couguar does not have his in this fight at all. So the Observer's staying safe, and actually Couguar going to get a decent fight here. The DT's softening up the Stalkers just a little bit. Stalkers will be pushed back. Zealot's going to try and chase him down, but SKillous has again that B force going down the east side of the map right now, and going to put some pressure here on the 4th base of Couguar. Couguar forced all the way across the map to deal with this. SKillous doing a really nice job here of asserting it. I feel like he's, you know, when you're in poker and you're the tall, is it tall stack, and you can like a little bit more aggressively and pressure the short stack. I feel like that's what SKillous is doing really well right now, is saying, you know what, I've got an army supply advantage. I'm going to force you to play my game, and even if I lose a little bit more than you do, you're still going to lose just enough where it's not going to be helpful. Couguar not paying attention now, and that's going to allow SKillous the time to get in here.
Yeah, he didn't really find what he needed, and now SKillous actually getting surrounded. Couguar's made some great moves this game. Really impressing me. The DTs here of SKillous are going to be able to do quite a lot. DTs for both players doing quite a lot, because I don't believe there's an Observer with this army. No, there's not. Prism will finally get tracked down here by this Archon. Meanwhile, we do have some Stalkers trying to get the council down on this base at the 7 o'clock position. Not going to be able to manage it, and we have a counter push up towards the same base on the opposing side. Couguar has managed to take over in supply. He was down 70 supply 2 minutes ago, Creighton. He's making Colossus.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you could see that army supply graph that I have access to. You got to get yourself a numpad, mate. It's beautiful.
One day I'll buy a numpad.
Please do, because of course SKillous was somewhere at around 120 army supply earlier in this game, and now for the first time in the entire game, Couguar is up and above SKillous' army supply. So while SKillous does still have a distinct income advantage, of course 5 bases to just the 5th base of Couguar finishing up now, he does have a more sustainable economy as well. That does mean if we get into the ultra late game, then it's actually going to be an advantage for Couguar, who has less area to defend. We'll see if we get there though.
Colossus are being kept hidden for a while now. You can see the first two are about to pop out. Fight going down. Blinks need to be good here, and they are. Fantastic. Couguar's micro really good. There's a lot here right now for SKillous, though. And as I say it, things go a little bit south. And now these Colossus, oh my god. A little bit close.
Seconds taken, photos taken seconds before disaster right there. And they're going to get caught as well. Oh, the Stalker's not quite in place. Luckily, SKillous doesn't have enough. Couguar is able to get out there. He's going to lose all the Archons going through the backside here. Disruptor shots going forward for SKillous, and Couguar going to lose everything there. Oh my god. What a great engagement there at the end from SKillous. I want to talk a little more about it, but maybe in the break so that I don't waste too much time with what they've done tactically there. That was a very, very intelligent engagement from SKillous, and we'll talk about it after the game's over. Remind me.
I'm going to forget. SKillous now has a pretty hefty lead. 87 supply to 31. Purification Nova's coming out to zone out the army as long as he doesn't take any massive shots. SKillous should be in a great, great position. You can see he has his strike force moving down towards the east as well. And I mean, static defense for Couguar is very, very good. His work account's still very healthy, but he has no army. And this base is now in a little bit of trouble. Purification Nova's going off in buildings. The Warpins coming in from Couguar. Bit far forward, are they not, lad? Like, a lot of them getting picked off. But DTs from Couguar in the back. Where's the Observer? The Observer is here. There's so many DTs there. They do so much damage, Creighton.
They're terrifying, and SKillous is going to get driven back. Of course, SKillous doing some counter of his own with those DTs finally takes down that proton cannon, and that's going to be really rough because there's only one observer remaining for Couguar, and it is not there, boys and girls. We're going to see a lot of probes about to fall, and that's something Couguar can't afford. The only thing keeping you in this game has been the fact that his economy has been fairly decent when compared to SKillous. SKillous has been taking better engagement the entire game, though, and now that the economy and the army supply are both wildly in favor of SKillous, Couguar's just dug his own grave.
Yeah, Couguar finally getting some detection out, but damage was done. There was a lot of mis-targeting, a lot of units actually just running back and forth in that last fight as DTs were affecting their AI. But I mean, SKillous just has a little bit too much. Up 50 supply, moving in for the first map. This is just the first of the best of 3. We're in for a treat. GG, SKillous takes game 1.
Beautifully done by SKillous there. And now that I've got a second in between games, Grant, if you'll indulge me, there's this really interesting dance that goes on with Protoss players, especially that only happens in Stalker Disruptor. And it's one of the reasons that Protoss is so fantastic. It's because you've got to have you got to know the steps to all these let me back up. If you're a Terran player, your dances are always the same. You're either mech versus bio, and you're trying to do the exact same thing with all of them. It just depends on how accurately you do them. The Protoss players have to learn all these really intricate dances depending on their unit compositions, especially in PvP. And the Blink Stalker Disruptor dance that you have to do is really tricky. SKillous, more expertly than Couguar that game, forced Couguar to blink before he was ready to do so. And of course, once you blink, you lose that mobility, and a Purification Nova from the Disruptor can get on top of all your Stalkers because you can't blink away from it because the Purification Nova is slightly faster. So one thing SKillous is doing really well that you want to keep your eyes on in the next game, if you're doing a blink, if we're seeing that Blink Stalker Disruptor dance, is how expertly SKillous is forcing Couguar to blink before he's ready, and then capitalizing on that with immediate Disruptor shots. It is really well done, especially in that penultimate engagement.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Couguar though. I think he's finding some good some good steps, some good leeway in these games. The Colossus transition didn't work. That's where the game went south pretty darn quick. But he managed to pull back some moments where I thought he was certainly dead. And I think if he can just tighten some of those things up, maybe don't go for that transition, look for something else, or commit heavily to disruptors, because he managed them well. There's certainly light at the end of the tunnel. For now, let's get into the game, Creighton, and introduce our players.
And I didn't mean to imply that Couguar wasn't playing well or anything. He definitely was. Just SKillous taking a minor advantage in those engagements. Well, let's introduce our players, as you said. In the top right-hand corner, representing Russia and the 3D clan, it's our blue Protoss player. It's Couguar.
And his opponent in the bottom left, representing Cascade Gaming. Bit of a rivalry between these teams, I imagine. He is the countryman of Couguar. So from Russia, the Red Protoss player, it's SKillous. And I love these countryman battles, you know, where you have two Russians battling it out. You know, I love it when you have the two Frenchmen battling. I just love the thought of people who traditionally are united having to fight. I enjoy that. But here in Eternal Empire, we may see something a little different. It's becoming a lot more meta to go one gate expand on this map. So we're seeing a lot of pylon blocks, almost akin to how you would block a Zerg. It's kind of, the meta of this map is really changing. We are going to see two gates here. Oh my god.
Wow.
Couguar has a forge.
Okay, baby. Let's show me what you got. This is like, I feel like this is not to continue the poker analogies too much, but this is a lot like when you go all in and you just throw your cards on the table and you say, all right, let's see those last, you know, let's see the river, because I know exactly what I've got. Let's see if you can deal with it. A little bit of layered forge that I would have expected.
This is smart.
He's going to get that wall off done. This is gorgeous.
Really cool. There's nothing here that can be cancelled. The gateway's already finished, and there's a supply block here from SKillous. He's not able to make a zealot. He needs to cancel his probe. He didn't do it in time. This is almost certainly going to get up. The cannon in the back is going to be so well defended here. There's no surface area that is going to be possible to get up here. SKillous can't make any units to get on top of this. Finally, the probes are going to do something. This is very, very cool. I love this from Couguar. He just found the perfect angle. His cannon is going to complete, Creighton.
Yeah, that first cannon cancels the first one there, but the second one should finish up. Absolutely correct. He's trying to distract Couguar, or trying to distract SKillous right now with these other cannons. But the first cannon's up now. Stalker's on the way, but two Stalkers at the time won't be able to take down that cannon. If there's a second one up, it's going to be such a close race against time here. That second cannon should finish just as the second Stalker comes out, but it's going to be all about control. And already SKillous' Stalker eating a bit of shield damage.
Yeah, Couguar doing everything he can to get every shot, every last point of damage onto the Stalker, even using the probe to attack. Second cannon finishes, the Stalker's needing to micro back, a cancel goes down, but this is working very well. Behind this, we don't see any tech coming out of Couguar. He is taking a second gas. He is actually still probing. This isn't really the heaviest committal you've ever seen, and it looks like he may try and pull out of this now, content with the fact that he's done some good damage. Yeah, that is going to be the case. Couguar is even in workers. The gate's kind of funky. Couguar is ahead in tech as he has his robo, but he does only have one gateway. No units, of course. This is weird.
This is weird, yeah, for sure. I do love that SKillous still has his gateway up. Thank goodness that gateway survived with about 10% of its overall HP. A really nice timing snipe. You can see he dove some of his Stalkers in there to eat some damage to try and distract that cannon from taking it all the way down. Right now, cannon up for Couguar, but SKillous, yeah, gets a probe in, sees there's only one cannon. He's going to head across the map here with these Stalkers, and I really like that choice from him. Nothing's going to be out of that robo by the time SKillous hits. He's got a real possibility here to start sniping some stuff, and he's even building a Void Ray factory in his main base. Pardon me, not his main base. Right next to Couguar's main.
Yeah, SKillous now going for that proxy Void Ray. So strong in this scenario, where the tech is very, very delayed here from Couguar, and the tech is an immortal. There's next to nothing on the ground. The cannon, of course, and the shield battery are very far away here from the mineral line.
Yep.
And this Stargate, if it gets up with this battery support, is going to be deadly here. I think SKillous has just made a great decision, Creighton.
This is where you see players who miss the forest for the trees, right? Couguar went so hard on that cannon rush. Sure, he pulled out fairly early, but he still committed a lot of resources, time, and commitment to it. And now he's got nothing back home to deal with this. He's got one Stalker, one Sentry. Not going to happen. The Void Ray will get pushed back here. A bit of an odd choice for SKillous not to go ahead and engage a little bit more fully, but he does have the shield batteries up now and can start moving forward. The problem for SKillous is going to be that these shield batteries are too far away from the main base to reliably heal up these Void Rays. So I imagine we'll see 3 or 4 Void Rays from SKillous, and then maybe an expand. We already see him building a robo back home. I think he knows that from this angle, this is not the most sustainable attack.
It's kind of a shame, because I actually think if he fully commits and goes full Goblin on this, he can be very, very efficient. Right now, he is going to find some damage. He's going to go for the cancel or the kill here on this pylon. Stalker's in the prism, not actually managing to get back in time. Some mistargeting here. SKillous is definitely not Goblin, these Void Rays. There was a damage he took that he didn't need to because he didn't cancel the the prismatic alignment, and now he is forced to come back. He could have killed a couple of probes if he targeted them. Chose not to. SKillous is still in a great position because his tech is great. His expansion, of course, earlier, considerably than that of his opponent. But, you know, I kind of just wanted to see more Voiders.
Didn't we all, Grant? Didn't we all? Will snipe a sentry. Oh, nice pickup by Couguar. Beautifully done. Saving that sentry at the very last second. Unfortunately for SKillous, he didn't get as much counter damage as I think he really wanted to there. There's a chance of a counter for Couguar. I don't think it's going to... Oh, he's going to go ahead and counter. This is really surprising, actually. I don't like this from Couguar at all. SKillous' natural already fairly well defended. Has the sentries down. He sees the Warp Prism coming across the map. The shield batteries are here. One more round of Warp-ins from SKillous, and he should be A-okay to finish this. And, of course, it means that Couguar not at home. Going to force the recall there. Couguar stepping onto the map. Very ill-advised.
Yeah, it ends up not working out. I think Couguar expected the Void Race to go all the way home. SKillous a little bit more passive. They're leaving them in the position just between the just in the dead space here by the main. Looking if you can get a probe, a pylon every now and then. As well, Void Race are great at. Not so great in that position. This time, this one will manage to get out to cancel prismatic alignment. The SKillous is really producing units now. He is starting to fire up a few Immortals, adding on a Forge, which is, of course, already down to Couguar, who did cannon this game. I think we're sort of in a really even position here. SKillous' economy is better, but that's going to catch up pretty quick with the double probe production coming out here and the Chronos by Couguar. And the sort of failed Proxy Stargate kind of counteracted the failed cannon rush. I think SKillous has a very, very slight lead, but it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, but remember last game where the players were so even for so long, and then over time, SKillous was able to force errors out of Couguar, both macro and micro errors, and really showed himself as just a bit more of an established player, and I suspect that's what we're going to see again this series. What we're going to look out for is if Couguar can have a flash of brilliance and force SKillous to make an error, if he can, maybe if we get up to disruptors, if he can land a big disruptor shot, if he can force a positioning error out of SKillous, I think the onus is right now on Couguar to do something aggressive or to do something a little more scary than he'd normally like to, because SKillous is that just tiny bit ahead, and in a mirror matchup, that matters so much.
He's going to force field the ramp. Oh, he didn't get to do it. Oh, he force fields him out. Okay, Blink is not done yet here for SKillous. And what that means is that right now Couguar has taken control of his main. He has the Immortal production. He has sentries to re-force field. He should maybe go for the Forge. It could be a big pickup here. He's going to kill that one pylon for now. He's not target firing that well. The force fields continue to be nice. And gonna force a probe pool right now, so Couguar needs to micro with his prism. He needs to kill a lot of workers, and that's what's happening.
My god, and of course this forces SKillous to focus fire down the sentries, which means the high DPS units from Couguar are still alive. So while SKillous does have an army supply advantage, he has lost 19 probes in this attack. Unless he can completely destroy Couguar right now, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And it looks like Couguar is eating a lot of damage and might even retreat back home. It's going to put Couguar in such a smart position. Even losing his Warp Prism, not the end of it. Oh god, he picked up Mortal though. That was a rookie mistake. But still, I think even with that loss, Couguar's still in a decent spot. He's shield batteries up at his natural, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, now +1 for SKillous is going to be considerably ahead, but he can't produce an army right now. You can see he has 16 workers fully situated on his natural, but there is feck all in his main. So a lot of workers going down right now. A 13 worker lead from Couguar, fully saturated in all of his positions, oversaturated in fact. We do have Couguar continuing to push out. He knows that it's very likely SKillous counters right now. So he wants to be in position to catch this. Both players do have Blink, but +1 in favor of SKillous.
Yeah, I like SKillous' chances here with this engagement. He's got the Warp Prism coming across the map or about to pop out, will come across the map. Once the Warp Prism's there, he does have probably barely just enough of an economy to warp in a couple of Zealots, create a little bit of space. I think Zealots are the right choice against all these Blink Stalkers. Just create a little bit of extra space for his Stalkers to give him positional advantage. But Couguar just needs to hold. And this is the story of the ages. We've seen this how many times now with this DreamHack, where SKillous has got to push in to win.
Yeah, SKillous is... He is continuing to make probes, his upgrades considerably ahead. If he can get a third Nexus down before his opponent, he can fight his way back into this.
Wow, SKillous going... Yeah, he's going to go for his third base.
Yeah.
He's not going to... He's posturing for this attack. He's going for his third base. Smart play from SKillous. I thought he was down and out. He's going to macro his way out. What a fucking baller. Sorry, what a baller.
I'm such a bad influence on you. DTs
really
coming in from Couguar now. Very, very nice. It's an early transition to DTs, which could catch SKillous unawares. SKillous, of course, is going to be trying to cut some corners here to get the economy back rolling and to keep his upgrades going. So if he can get in, there is an observer here from SKillous patrolling, which is very nice. But I believe that is the only observer on the map. Yes, it is. And one here with the army of Couguar. So Couguar certainly has potential to sell it. Sees all just hiding. Oh, maybe the Carrack will get him.
Stupid Carrack. I can't do the accent, but you all get the joke. Man, what is up with these players? I feel like they have Nerf bats, Grant, and they're just like going to town on each other with a Nerf bat. And they know they're not going to do any real damage, but they just keep putting themselves in these really dangerous positions. Again, Couguar all the way across the map, forced to warp in back home. Going to lose so many probes here to these adepts as long as SKillous controls him well, and he's going to push in. But again, come on, there's defender's advantage for SKillous right now. Even the best force fields in the world not going to help you that much.
Yeah, 3 batteries here from SKillous makes this an almost unbreakable position.
But the pro's still alive. Holy shit.
Proper going down now, yeah. This has now become a real problem here. Because that probe count, Couguar has now killed 23, and SKillous now managing to bring that back to 11 killed in total. So that puts him back in even workers, and that was very important with both players taking their thirds for SKillous to be able to do that. I think SKillous is probably ahead. I mean, the upgrade, the disruptors are going to be so important, but he really needs to add on some detection. Getting a cannon somewhere in the natural, none in the third yet. That's going to be so important.
He's got those 2 observers out, though. Pardon me, that's Couguar. SKillous does have 1 observer out, but he should be able to get 1 more, hopefully, soon, those DTs. Man, SKillous still sacrificing a few more adepts. Going to lose the next Warp Prism. God, is that 2 this game already? No, just the 1. Sorry, there's 1 from Couguar as well. But 7 more probes going down, putting SKillous not just 10 probes ahead, but remember that third base down so much earlier than Couguar's. The income graph way in favor of SKillous now. Couguar has had his moment in the sun, and now again we see Couguar in a position where the onus is on him to make a big push, to create some pressure, and it looks like that's what he wants to do, coming across the north side of the map.
Yeah, Army Supply does favor the blue Protoss player here. And his unit composition pretty good. He still has a massive Stalker lead, 30 to 17, but he will be pushing into 2 disruptors. SKillous certainly has the tech right now. SKillous just needs to make sure he knows what is going on. He actually hasn't seen this force coming down here. Now he should have caught a glimpse of the prism with this Zealot and should know, but he's so out of position.
Very odd to see both players out on the map right now. I would be absolutely terrified, but I think both of them know that they've got to get something done here. Disruptor could be a huge, huge deal here for Couguar. Again, as we talked about at the end of the last race, I mentioned at the end of the last game, there's going to be this dance that begins to occur. Can you force a blink out of your opponent before they should, and then catch him with that disruptor? And now that's what SKillous is going for, a juicy disruptor hit to really put a dot on the T, or a cross on the T of this game, and really end things right away. Did you know that there's a name for the cross on a T and the dot on the I?
I did, but I don't remember what it is.
Tittles and Jots.
Oh my god, that's so good. That's adorable. What the?
Isn't it great? English is a great language sometimes. I love it. There's, see, now the blink forced away, but now there's 2 more disruptors with their shots available. If SKillous wants to go, he should go right now, but he's not going to. He's playing it cool, playing it safe, and this is the right move for him. Use the disruptors to zone out, get some small wins here, and force your opponent into a big mistake later.
Immortal does go down.
That's huge.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there is a DT counterattack. There's no observer here, but it is just 1 DT, and this cannon is going to finish up. We have a fight going on, though. It looks like Couguar trying to be a little bit aggressive, maybe blinked forward. I did miss the beginning of that. We have the Prism, I believe. Yeah, the Prism sitting up to the north here, but both players still posturing. SKillous really has a supply lead. I'm surprised he's playing this far back. I don't know if he quite appreciates how far ahead he is. He's about to have +3, so maybe waiting for that before any commitment. Maybe a little bit scared of these Dark Templar boys running around causing mayhem.
Yeah, SKillous is going to be able to crank out some observers soon, though. He's getting up to that really weird disruptor number. He's on 3 now. Should be, I was going to say, getting up to at least 5. And then once you're at 5, you can pretty much zone out continuously, and then he'll be able to sub out the observers for the disruptors out of his robos, and I think that'll be the good choice. I love that he's getting a gravitic drive for the observers as well, though. Needs to keep one with this army, though. You can't afford to get flanked by that DT. It'll do a whole lot of damage if it goes unchecked.
Yeah, DT's really keeping Skillous back right now. We can see there is no observer with the army currently. There we go. He's actually chasing the DT. This blinking invisible boy will go down. And I mean blinking in both sense. Annoying and teleporting. Skillous, he's still in a good spot. He's adding on a Dark Shrine of himself. His upgrades, his +3 is done. And he's beginning shield upgrades. And now it looks like we may have a bit of an engagement in the middle of the map here, Creighton.
Yeah, we will. First Disruptor Ball going down. Nice blink away there from Skillous. Does lose a couple Stalkers, though, just a microsecond too late. The Disruptor count now 3 for Couguar and 5 for Skillous. So, man, Skillous taking little losses here, but again, doesn't want to blink away before he's ready. It's such a fraught situation there. The blink has been forced out of Couguar. Keep your eyes, guys, on the cooldown of those blinks. That really is what this game's going to hinge on. Nice little drop here from Couguar. Not going to do too much, though, as there it is. Warp Prism gets taken down, and the Stalker should be able to take care of these TTs as well.
Cannon does go down, a little bit of miscontrol there. Oh my god, and a little bit more miscontrol here from Skillous. He still manages to get the shot off somehow. I have no idea how that just happened. Both players may be showing a little bit of tiredness and a little bit of miscommunication there.
I don't think so.
Miscommunication, misconcentration. I don't know.
I think Skillous did that really intentionally. He sacrificed all of his all of his disruptors right now. He's down to just 1. He sacrificed all of them for a distinct advantage at this point in the game. So now Skillous has got to move because he's way behind on disruptors now. But he knows that sacrificing those 5 disruptors for a fair amount of stalkers means that he can push it at this exact moment. And now that he's got twice the army supply, he can be so much more aggressive for the next, like, 45, 50 seconds while he still has that advantage. Disruptor's going to zone him out.
Oh!
He's gonna eat some big shots though. Come on, Skillous. Don't make me wrong here, buddy.
Yeah, some massive shots. Damage done to the probe line here at Couguar. He goes down to just 54 workers to the 68 of his opponent. Skillous is still up in supply in every regard. Maybe up to blink on this small Stalker Fuss or even this base and take this down. But we have a bit of a surround coming in right now. Skillous's Disruptors come back in. Purification Novas come in. Oh, they don't manage to go off. Very nice control from Couguar. These Immortals, I believe, maybe in a bit of trouble. I didn't actually control. Oh, this game's so scrappy.
Very scrappy there. Skillous' Disruptor actually got caught a microsecond before the Disruption Purification Nova went off there, thus saving all of Couguar's Disruptors. Both these players playing such a dangerous game right now, being really, really aggressive with those Disruptors, not afraid to lose all their high-tech units to gain a small fraction of advantage. They both know if they have a small fraction of an advantage in a final fight somewhere and they really commit to it, that's how they can end this game. I'm a little surprised to see Skillous doing it, though, as he is a little bit ahead after forcing a cancel on that 4th base. Skillous now 2 bases ahead of his opponent, I believe, as Couguar attempts to double expand at 12 o'clock to make up for the fact that he's so far behind.
Yeah, a Shadow Strike finally on the way here from Skillous, and I feel like as he catches up with all of these sort of more essential upgrades, I don't want to use the word essential because of course, but you know what I mean, more standard meta upgrades, I feel like it's going to put him into a position where he's going to be able to find a lot more damage. He's generally been better at finding damage and taking these fights more intelligently, and I'm a little bit worried for Couguar right now. He's been down a lot of supply for a long time. Skillous is giving him a breathing window, but he's not... you know, the hand may not be around the neck, but it's like stroking it gently. Skillous is getting ready to kill his opponent, I think. As he gets maxed, as +2 shields finish, I think we may see Skillous look to be pretty aggressive again.
You sound like the most gentle murderer ever, Grant.
I am the most gentle murderer.
Very gentle the ripper of you. And here we go. As you said, final engagement's going down. First blink forced out. Huge shot for Couguar there, but Disruptor Balls on both sides doing massive damage. A bit of a detente there, where both players are ensuring mutually assured destruction. DT run by, though, going to be huge on that north side. Couguar straight up not ready for this. And if he loses 2 more bases again, you're right, he's just going to get choked out by Skillous. And I think that's Skillous' plan. He's been so far ahead in army for so long, and he hasn't ended this game yet.
Yeah, Skillous right now trying to control 2 armies. Hiccup as he does send his DTs over into this base, blinking on top of some of the detection here. Is able to absolutely decimate this probe count, but the fight is now going on in the middle. Skillous changes the scene quick enough to be able to hit those blinks and survive, and now he's moving out. He's killed 20 plus workers in the last couple of moments. How many in total? 56! And Skillous is looking phenomenal right now in this match.
Yep, this is it. I mean, the Disruptor's going down now for Couguar. A very aggressive blunk from Skillous, and he's going to get on top of all of this. Even though the Disruptors are going down, it's not going to be